Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy D-Rock here. It's been a minute, but we're back. We're rambling. We're talking about some stuff. Before I go into this video, I just want to let you guys know I've been moving some stuff around. So this is kind of a new setup right now. As you can see, you got some stuff you can see behind me, kind of, but not really. But this is how we're going to be going for here on out, probably so. I'm also testing out a new mic, so let me know how the sound quality is on this video is. Of course, I'm watching it myself afterwards to see if I like it or whatnot, but your opinion matters to me as well. So this ramble is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk about back for me. Let's talk. We're going to go to the 90s. So some of you guys might know the 90s, might not know the 90s, but arcades were kind of cool. And my older brother always talked about going to arcade machines, playing games and stuff like that. And hearing his stories, I want to play these arcade games. So I just want to talk about arcades, like my experience with arcades and things like that. My first arcade game that I ever played was Street Fighter 2, just plain Jane Street Fighter 2. It was at a laundromat that my mom went to when we were growing up, and I go there and I house her for so many coins, and only could get past like one guy. Whoever the first person you win, then the second person usually ends up being Chun-Li or Guile, and God forbid you try to jump over that man, he's gonna do a somersault. But I remember I remember being excited. Like my mom's like, we're going to the laundromat and we gotta get our clothes done. I get all my coins that I saved up and try to spend, because it's back in the day it was only 25 cents to play around. It wasn't expensive at all, but to the parents it was, because you lose so much. It's not like games now you can just start over again. But I remember that experience. It was really fun going to the arcades. I mean, not the arcade, the laundromat and stuff like that. Now you're probably like, D-Rock, that's not an arcade. And granted, I don't think I ever been to like a legit arcade growing up. There's always like an arcade little mini area that you go to. There was a bowling alley in my town. There still is a bowling alley. But growing up, they had Sunset Riders and Metal Slug. And I played so much of Metal Slug. I like Metal Slug more than Sunset Riders. But Sunset Riders were cool because Sunset Riders, you had 4 people who can play as. And it was like a cowboy game, beat 'em up. So think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Turtles of Time, which that also has like arcade cabinet too, but I've never seen it before. But Sunset Riders was a big machine, and it had like 4 stools so people could play with. But I never played that one because any games I played with other people I didn't like playing, because nobody else was like playing. I guess like at my time, not that many people were going to these places. But the the main thing I wanted to bring up was there was an arcade that go to a mall I used to go to, and in that arcade, sorry, in that arcade, it had so many cool games. You go in there, and it was like, wow, you saw these games before they came out. I remember seeing Marvel superheroes in there, and I remember I just lost my mind seeing Marvel superheroes, because I was like, whoa, these guys are awesome. Because at this time, if you weren't watching X-Men on TV, if you weren't watching Spider-Man, like, that was it. That was like the stuff that you did back in the day. It's like Marvel comics, all that stuff, hype back in the day, believe it or not. It was hype. Like early 90s, I would say probably it kind of dropped off towards the middle towards the 90, like 88, 99. That's when it started dropping off. But everything was Marvel. It's funny how everything was Marvel in the past, and it kind of like turned around and it's Marvel again. They had Marvel trading cards, Marvel Pogs, not like Pog Guy, but like actual Pogs, and I had them all. And the reason why I bring that up because like seeing like characters in the game like that, Captain America, Spider-Man, Wolverine. I believe that was the first one that had Iron Man playable. Yeah, yeah, it was Iron Man, wasn't it? Because they couldn't get, what was it, War Machine? I can't remember the characters. But it had all these cool characters I can play as. And I remember seeing Marvel vs. Capcom because I remember tripping out because my brain didn't know Capcom was making these games. I didn't know, Capcom was making these games, and it goes from there. But the thing is, it was like Capcom and Marvel like mixed together. Like, boom, that's what starts. If you notice anything about my channel, I like crossovers, and that game started my crossover love. And anything that has crossovers in it, I absolutely love because of Marvel vs. Capcom. I remember going to these machines and looking at them and tripping out and asking my dad for money. My dad's like, no, you can't get no money because I spend so much money on these. Like, I spend money on Marvel vs. Capcom, Time Crisis. If y'all ever played Time Crisis go hard in arcades, man. Especially if some buddies come up to you and you want to play, just there, you just use the light gun. That's what those little guns are called, and you start shooting up. Those games are fun. Killer Instinct in arcades. I remember seeing Killer Instinct. That game was awesome. Samurai Showdown, Soul Calibur, NBA Jam. NBA Jam goes hard in arcade. If you ever played that in arcade, it's super fun. Tekken 2. I have a lot of memories of Tekken 2. Third Strike and Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat, man. Mortal Kombat was in arcades, man. That's how I knew about it. Cause like everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we got Mortal Kombat on the console." Like, I know Mortal Kombat got really hyped and stuff like that, but man, I played that thing in arcades and had so much fun. But I just got my ass kicked by Kung Lao. He just go, oh, he hit me with that gibberish. What did he say? He do that wule. I think it's wule. I think it's something like that. He goes wule, or no, it's like he didn't that wule. Then Melina goes hee-hoo. Now that's Mortal Kombat 4. We ain't talking about Mortal Kombat 4. But also, if another game that like older, that game in arcades were Dance Dance Revolution. If y'all wasn't playing Dance Dance Revolution, bro, y'all was getting clowned. It had to be up, down, left, right, and those games were fun back in the day. Man, I'm reminiscing on all these different games, and I bet you're just like watching this video. It's like, what's the point of this video? You're just talking about your memories of arcade. That's the point, man. I miss it, dude. I miss, because that's, to me, that was like the fun time of games, because we had, because at home, if you had a certain console, that means like you're rich. Like, depending on what console you had was your class. It's like your job class is like, oh, I was like, it's like, oh, you have a Sega, okay, cool. And homeboy come in with a Super Nintendo. They're like, what, Super Nintendo, boy? You got money? Like, man, I don't got. I'm just like, bruh. Then like Sony came out and like stuff like that. But so back in the days, like your hub was the arcades, man, because arcades came out first before some of the console release games, which was amazing and all that stuff. Because like I remember like House of the Dead, for example, House of the Dead 2, I have so much fond memories playing at an arcade, and I have memories on Dreamcast. And same thing for DDR. I have a whole bunch of memories of DDR arcades. I have some friends that own the DDR mats and stuff like that, but DDR on in the arcade machines will always be the funnest and always stuff like that. Tekken, like I said earlier, I played Tekken 2 in arcades. Tekken 2 was like amazing in arcades. I remember just getting I never won a round against the computer in arcades, but my true love of Tekken didn't start till Tekken 3. Dude, I wish I could tell you more about my arcade experience, but it was an escape for back in the day. Like like now we have all these games that we can just play at home. The arcade was like, oh, I'm going to the arcade, boom, go hang out with some friends and shit like that. I personally didn't have that because, like I said, I was born in like not born in the 90s, but I grew up in the 90s. So when I went, personally for me, when I went to arcades, it was an escape from reality, because that was like my zone. Because like at home, I only had like 2 games. Arcade, I can play tons of different games. Granted, I needed a lot of money because those games were like money pins, man. That's why if you play some of these old school games on these classic games where they just own, like, people say, oh, they're Dark Souls level, man. Imagine Dark Souls, but every time you die, you have to put 25 cents in. Imagine that. Imagine Dark Souls, but you have to put 25 cents every day. Bloop. Then if you don't put your 25 cents in, bloop, bye bye. Bye bye, your character gone. You gotta start all over again. That'd be kind of a fun mode, bruh. Put 25-cent mode in Elden Ring. No, but it was a different time. That's the reason why I chose this video. It's like, because you probably think it's like arcade, why? But arcade was like some of the funnest times for a lot of gamers, especially older gamers, and a little bit older than me. For me, like I said, it was just an escape from reality temporarily because I didn't have that much of it. But so many great games were arcades, and like so much of my love comes from these video games I saw in arcade that I tried to hunt for in consoles because I didn't know they exist, you know. And when I learned they exist on like PlayStation, they were better on the Sega, on some of the Sega consoles, like Sega Saturn. I know X-Men Children of Autumn, Adam. No, it's Autumn. No, it's Autumn. No, it's not Autumn. Adam. I think it's Adam. It was a great game, but I never knew it was a arcade game. I never saw it in arcade. I saw, like I said, I saw Marvel's Capcom 1 and 2, Marvel Superheroes, and I think I saw X-Men versus Street Fighter. I could be wrong on that. I think that's the one with Apocalypse as the final boss. I think. But yeah, I just wanted to share my feelings on arcades because like I was like I've been reminiscing for a while on arcades. I just wanted to shout out some arcade thoughts here and there, and I think it'll be a good video to kind of come back to see what happens, you know. But yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, I had that little hiatus. It's over, but yeah. So that's my thoughts. I just wanted to do a little arcade video. Just talk about my thoughts, some games that kind of came out, and from there, um, I would say arcades nowadays they exist, um, not as the favor of as they were back in the '80s for sure, because I did it in the '90s era and they were kind of like dwindling a little bit because home consoles growing more, yada yada yada. Uh, would I like to see arcades come back in a shape, in some form? Yes. Um, what that form will be, I have an idea, but we'll see if that comes to pass. But yeah. So thank you guys. This is the arcade video. Just chatting about arcades, talking about arcades. Hope you guys enjoy it. And I'll see you guys next week with another generic ramble, and we'll go from there. All right, you guys take it easy and be safe.